is up, guys? Welcome back to church. Today, I want to kind of start off with a statement, and we're going to build off that thing. So Tracy and I got married. We were young. She was 20. I was 22. And there's this moment where we got married, and when I asked her, hey, baby, why did you marry me? The words that came out of her mouth was, because you are exotic. I'm just kidding. She didn't really say that, but in my mind she did, because basically what she said was, you're weird. I've never met a person like you, right? And that is actually serious. She's like, you're so passionate. You're just so like black and white with everything, right? You're just so opposite of me. I mean, that's true. And so what I want to do today, right? We're in this series called The Happy Ending According to Song of Solomon. And we've been walking through this book of the Bible together. And what I want to do today is talk about our differences. Because the problem with marrying exotic, which is code for just different than you, okay, is that exotic can become toxic really, really fast. But in the beginning, it's so much fun. Let me unpack. One of the best date nights I ever planned, okay? I am proud of this moment, fellas. I'm going to brag about this moment to my grandkids, all right? But I remember, called her up one day and I was like, hey, baby, like, be ready to get out the door, and we're going on a date 6 p.m. 6 p.m., all right? Now that day, coincidentally, I had gotten off work early, okay? I got some bonus money from work, and so I took that money to Macy's. Yes, you heard me right, Macy's. And I went up into the formal dress section, found a lady that worked there that looked about the size of Tracy, and I was like, hey, excuse me, miss, what size are you? To which she looked at me and was like, freak, get out of here. I'm not hitting on you. Look, in fact, I'm dating this really smoking hot chick. I want to take her out tonight. I want to buy her a dress. And she looks at me and she's like, and you don't know her size? I'm like, no, but she looks pretty much like you. And so me and this lady go shopping for Tracy. And so we find this beautiful black dress that's like, you know, sexy, but not like, you know, flirty, if you know what I mean? I mean, it's just the perfect mix, right? And so I call her parents. I'm like, hey, I'm going to come in. I bought Tracy some clothes. They were like, what? You're weirdo? And I was like, it's okay, but I got a card, I got clothes, I got Rose. And I go up, I put them on her bed. And I said, when she gets home, just tell her, go upstairs, get ready. I already got a date planned for us. Just make it happen, right? And so Tracy comes home, and on her bed is this love letter. Oh, it was a love letter. I don't know. I wrote her a letter, okay? But then the black dress, and at the end of the letter it says, baby, be ready by 6, rose in your hand, black dress on. I got the best night planned for you. Okay, now, again, you're looking at that. There are pitfalls everywhere because, yes, the dress did fit. Holla, right? We had the time of our lives, right? But looking back, okay, like that was phenomenal, right? And dating is what we're going to talk about today because dating matters. The problem is dating kind of cuts two ways, right? So if you're single, dating is kind of like flirting but spending money. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that, okay? Like when you date and you're single, okay, everyone's putting on their very best, right? You're really guarding yourself from the bad things or the skeletons in your closet from your life. Right? If you're a guy, you actually showered and groomed, right? Like that's a great little thing, a piece of advice. But everyone's getting along. Everyone's trying to be their very best. In fact, here's what I would say. When you're single and you date, that version of that person is the very best you're ever going to get. Which means, ladies, if you ever say, hey, I can fix him, no. Like, if you're saying that first date, leave. They ain't the one, okay? Okay, but what happens, right? As you get on this date, it's flirty, you're talking about surface level stuff. And then if you have fun, you do it again, right? And if you have fun again, you do it again and again and again. And before you know it, you get so lost in infatuation, so lost in the feels of being in love that there's this moment that you go, oh, let's get married, spend the rest of our lives together because I'm so infatuated with the best version of you, right? Well, you do get married, right? And that's where it cuts two ways, right? There's dating for singles, but then what about dating for married people, right? Where here's what I know, right? Dating really flies out the window when you say I do. Seriously, like in the infatuation, right? That thing that like wound you up, right? Like that leaves in the first fart. Seriously, say it with me. Like you thought I married a person that doesn't fart until you marry them. Then you're sitting next to them, and there it is, right? And at that point, you're like, wow, this is real life, right? And then remember, you married exotic, right? Opposites attract, right? Your idea was you complete me, now you annoy me, okay? And thus, what begins to happen, right? You start to feel the squeeze of the financial pressures, right? You start to deal with real problems in marriage, right? He just won't put his freaking towel away. She just won't stop buying that latte at Starbucks for $6.79, right? Right? All of a sudden you have these worlds where all of a sudden date night, even if you have one, well, infatuation? No. Flirty? No. Oftentimes you find people on their phones or just talking about their kids, really not solving anything. And that's why today, what I want to do and where Solomon takes us next is our aim is to teach you how do we date well. How do we date well? Like if you're single, like how do you date? Where infatuation, the feels, it's going to happen. But how do you date in such a way where you get to know the person and you want to spend the rest of your life with that person, spending 2-3 hours at a time on date night, right? How do you make that happen? Married people, how do we get dating back into our lives? Because what I really do believe about dating, okay, don't miss this, is I think dating matters so much when you're married that it is what unlocks the intimacy inside of marriage. And so the question for you is, how do I date? How do I date intimately where the sizzle is the celebration? Hello, the happy ending of Song of Solomon. And so that's where we're going to go next, right? So if you have your Bibles, we're going to be in Song of Solomon. We're going to be in chapter 2, okay? Again, the point of this series is for you to learn how to read this book of the Bible, how to educate yourself so you can read this yourself. And so the Bible, in case you're brand new, okay, this book of the Bible is very easy to understand if you it's very easy to read as long as you understand how it's written. So this is song poetry, okay? So there's a story or a moment of a couple looking back on their life of how they dated, how they got married, their sex life, all sorts of different moments, right? They're looking back on moments, okay? You have Solomon, okay? He's the guy in the relationship. He's a king. Okay, he's falling in love with a Shulamite. She is a peasant woman, right? He's reaching down and he's going to pull her into being the princess, right? The queen, like talking about a shift in her life, right? Okay, and so these two are looking back on their life. Last week we talked about their wedding day. She's sharing her moments or thoughts of her insecurities of marrying a king, right? And that was week 1. Okay, this week they back up before the wedding day to when they were dating. All right, and it's into that we jump in. And it starts off, and the woman starts to talk in verse 8. She says, "Listen, my beloved, look, here he comes, leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills." Okay, so what's happening? Okay, she's in her home. She's looking out a window, and she sees over the hills, over the mountains, she sees Solomon coming. Why? Because, well, they didn't have cars, and so Solomon was a king from a different area, so he had to travel to go and see her, right? And in this moment, right, you can sense there's anticipation in her mind. She's wondering what the day is going to look like. Here he comes, right? Right? There's a sense of adventure, which means secret number 1 to a great date night, okay, is start with anticipation and adventure. Seriously, like wind that up. Men, do not go pick up a girl and then get her in a car and say, "What do you want to do?" Okay, no. Like plan it out, okay? Be crazy, okay? Think the whole dress thing that I did, right? The adventure, the unknown, the anticipation, man, that should be date night, a planned thing that's going to connect you guys in an adventurous way. Keep reading. "My beloved is like a gazelle or like a stag." She's just like, he is a stud. Look at that man, right? All right. "There, he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice." Okay, he's like knocking on the door. "My beloved spoke and said to me," okay, and this is him, "Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. See, The winter is past, the rains are over and gone, flowers appear on the earth. The season of singing has come, the cooing of doves is heard in our land. The fig tree forms its early fruit, the blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. And so what's he saying? He's saying it's springtime, right? You can smell the growth there. You can smell love is in the air. He is going, look, everything is blossoming. It is going like, come with me as things grow. Okay, secret number 2 to dating is date night is for discovery. Man, I would like try new things. Do new things, right? Get awkward, right? Married couples, like what I hear all the time is like, when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to sizzle, okay, it's always the same thing. Well, I would say try something different on date night, right? Like buy a book. Hello, like go adventuring together, go hiking, get lost, right? Like do something out of the ordinary. Go on the adventure and the anticipation of a lifetime. If you're single, don't go on too much of an adventure, okay? Don't try too many new things, okay? Because you'll be busted, okay? Okay, but it's the same premise, right? Because what I really do believe, okay, if you want sizzle inside of your marriage, if you want intimacy inside of your marriage, then I'm telling you, it comes from dating, right? And that's what's going to drop us back into Song of Solomon. Because remember, the problem with dating, especially if you're single, is you get lost in infatuation, right? But the question is, how do we date well in our marriages? How do we date well with a purpose? Now check this out, because the scene is, play this back in your mind. Okay, he's traveling to come see her. He's got a whole day planned. He's like, we're gonna go out in the fields, we're just gonna muse, we're just gonna talk, we're gonna connect, it's gonna be an adventure, right? She's all about it. She's like, he is a stud, baby, right? And then Solomon continues in verse 14, don't miss this. He goes, my dove in the clefts of the rock, in the hiding places of the mountainside, show me your face, let me hear your voice. Your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. What's he saying? He's going, your face, your voice, I love it all. Like you are the package. My heart leaps when I look at you as if I want to spend my life with you. But then he says this, catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyard, our vineyards that are in bloom. Now time out, because unless you're like this master gardener, vineyard taker, okay, that kind of goes over our heads. Okay, but understand in this context, in this time, okay, the vineyard is an illustration. So what he's saying is the vineyard's in bloom. You know what he's saying? He's like, I'm crushing you. I am madly in love. Like I am falling for you, okay? But he says, but before we let that thing just take off in infatuation and we end up marrying the wrong person, or we end up marrying stupid, you know what I mean? Like what he's saying is we need to chase away the little foxes, the things that ruin the vineyard, ruin the relationship. See, in this culture, in this time, to tend a vineyard wasn't just weeding it, but there are these little foxes that would burrow into the ground, and they would come at night. They would come when no one was watching, and they'd burrow down, and you wouldn't even know they were there because they'd start chomping at the roots. And then slowly, very slowly, this healthy vineyard, the vine, would slowly start to wilt, would start to wither. It couldn't take the scorching heat of the sun, right? It couldn't take the elements that was coming at it anymore because its root, the foundation would get ruined by the little foxes. What is Solomon trying to teach us in this text? How do you date well? What he's saying is you got to chase away the little foxes. You got to make sure that you are guarding, you are protecting the root of the relationships. Again, why is this so important? Okay, because we married exotic. You date exotic. Okay, what's that mean? Opposites attract, right? Like that's just how it is. And why is that a phenomenon in our world? It's because you're curious. Again, you see things you wish you were in other people and you're attracted to that. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'd love to spend my life with that person, right? Like maybe you're the person, like, I wish I was spontaneous like you. And then you go on dates and he's got this adventure thing nailed. I mean, he is spontaneous. He's buying you dresses, giving you roses. You're like, this is awesome. I love spontaneous until that same jackwagon brings home a cat after you're married. A hairless cat at that, okay? Could have had a dog. Oh no, didn't talk to you about it. Didn't ask you about it. Just like, hey, I got a surprise. And you're like, is it a dress? Hairless cat. Ugh. Right? Right? And in that moment, okay, like you're going, okay, what was exotic is actually making me super mad. You know what I mean? Like the exotic becomes toxic real fast. Right? And again, this is just how marriage is. Again, I thought about this for Tracy and I. This is our life. Okay, opposites attract 100%, and there couldn't be more opposite people than Tracy and I. In fact, I wrote some things down as I was thinking about our relationship just to kind of let you see how we function, okay? So for me, I am on time, okay, like Jesus, okay? I think Jesus was an on-time person. He's never late, he's never early. He's on time, okay? Tracy tends to be late all the time, okay? Like, and so, like there are countless days I'm just sitting in the driveway in the car, like I can't believe, I can't, run in one more time, really? Really, right? I mean, that's Tracy and I. I'm an extrovert, also like Jesus, okay? Just gonna kind of here start to see a trend here, okay? Like she is an extreme introvert, okay? I've learned long ago, our family is not the family that after church we go out to eat, okay? Like she has expelled all of her extrovert emotion on the morning and she is just like, give me my home, I am sleeping, okay? Like very different people, okay? Other things, I love sports, I love to win, okay? Also, probably like Jesus, okay? She likes, what are the life lessons? Right? I mean, she's all, like, I'm telling a lot, you lost, you suck. She is just like, well, hold on, let's learn, all right? Just very, very different, okay? I'm organized. Okay, I just say I'm not the cleanest guy. Like I will never clean. Okay, in fact, I still don't know why we wash towels. It's a clean towel on a clean body. Why we ever wash them? Okay, I just throw that out there. Okay, I am a neat person. Everything has their spot. Everything goes in the same spot. But Tracy, she's not so much neat. She's what I would call random. Okay, now random is because messy sounds mean. Okay, but here's the deal. I'm dirty. Where she is clean. Like she might have like random places where she puts her keys. She might lose those keys. But you know what? She will not happen is she will not have a dirty house. Right? But for me, I'm like, keep your shoes on. Good luck. Right? I'm just saying, right? We're probably she's more like Jesus in those ways, right? But keep going. Tracy's gracious. I'm critical. Like she is, I'm a pessimist by nature. She's an optimist, okay? This is just how we are. And again, think about this. Because when you're dating, those things are cute. Again, like I said, I'm the spontaneous one in our marriage, right? Like I'm the one who will bring home a life-altering dog, okay? Like now, here's the thing. I've learned, invite Tracy on the adventure. She actually loves the spontaneous as long as it makes a little more sense. She puts more time into it, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's not one versus the other, but they can become one versus the other. And that's why in marriages, right? And even when you're dating, again, play this out. When we date, we get lost in infatuation. The infatuation is oftentimes because of the exotic. And then you're dating and seeing how all this plays so nice together. Then you get married and pow! Right? You're just different, right? Like think about this. How you are different determines how often you will fight. Like that's just kind of true. Like simple things. Like are you a family that you like put the condiments on your dinner plate and then put them back in the fridge, or do you just slap the condiments on the table? Which one are you? Here's what I know. I've had counseling sessions with people that are fighting about ketchup. Right? Like you're just different. You have different priorities, right? Some families grew up and it's like dinner time is dinner time. You sit at a table. Other people, it's like dinner time, flip on TV, okay? Like, and then all of a sudden, well, if you're coming from different perspectives, put that together. Or without work, like some of us, we over prioritize work. Other people under prioritize them. What about family? Want to know annoying little fox? Let's talk about our family. Wow. Right? Like boundaries with our families. How many of us, like we would say, oh, my mama's my best friend. yet she's also just kind of the valve that you go to when you need to blow off steam and you just crush your spouse in front of them. Or maybe you come from a family, they expect you to do a family vacations with them, and maybe you came from a family that didn't even exist. And now, all of a sudden, it's like you're going to take your money and you're going to spend it all to go to Disneyland with family, and you're going, I don't even know if I like this family. What is even going on here? You know what I'm saying? Right? But you become different people. You have past hurt. You have past pain. All these things, right? What happens when you get married, right? Are these little foxes come in and they start chopping at the root. They start going at it. They start gnawing and gnawing and gnawing. And all of a sudden, if you don't take care of those foxes, it is inevitable that as the pressures come on that marriage, as the sun starts to scorch, the elements of finances, of family, of marriage, of just kids, oh my gosh, right? Like work, success, all these things start to cook. And if you don't have a healthy root, what happens? Well, the exotic becomes the toxic, the flirting becomes fighting, and eventually you're left with, they don't make me happy anymore. We're just different people than we used to be, right? And all of a sudden, out comes the word you probably never dreamed would happen, is divorce. Or worse, you just become two passing people. It's my money and your money. It's my life and your life. It's my time and your time, and we're just living together because it just makes more financial sense. And here's the deal, is wherever you're at, listen to me, what do we do when the foxes are gnawing? Because what's fascinating is come back to our couple, right? Our couple, they're going on their date. He's going to take her out on this adventure, perusing and musing through the fields, right? As she's like, oh man, you're a stud. He's like, man, I love you. You're the cat's meow. But he's like, let's chase away these little foxes. They begin to talk, and we don't know what they talked about, but apparently it didn't go well. They weren't seeing eye to eye. And in verse 16, a fight breaks out where she says, my beloved is mine and I am his. Like, we're together, but he browses among the lilies. Until the day breaks and the shadows flee, turn, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or like a young stag on the ragged hills. You know what she's saying? Come back. Why? Because he gone. Right? Like something happened. An explosion happened. A fight happened. And he just stonewalled her, took off. And was like, I don't know anymore. And she's sitting there going, well, we're together still. But man, we're not seeing eye to eye. This fox got in, and we tried to chase it away, and it bit us. Right? Chapter 3, verse 1. All night long on my bed, I looked for the one my heart loves. Right? She's like, well, I miss him. We're fighting, and he's gone. Right? I looked for him, but did not find him. Watch this. I will get up now and go about the city through the streets and the squares. I will search for the one my heart loves. So I looked for him, but did not find him. The watchmen found me as they made their city rounds. Have you seen the one my heart loves? Scarcely had I passed them when I found the one my heart loves. I held him and would not let him go till I had brought him to my mother's house, to the room of the one who conceived me. Now don't miss this. What's happening, right? Like she got up, she chased him, she found him, right? She clinged to him. She said, come on, let's work this out. Come home. And then she takes him to the mama's bedroom. Now don't miss this. They're not sizzling in the bedroom, okay? That'd be weird on every level, okay? But what's she doing? Don't miss this. She's bringing him back to where they started. Remember? Where was she when she was looking out, watching him come and visit her? It was the house. It was the mom's bedroom. It was home. She was like, let's go back and let's sort this thing out. Let's chase away the little foxes when we're calm and collective and where we started. And again, what can we learn through this? Okay, I think there's 3 learnings through this, right? And it's simply this, is number 1 is you would have to admit you're both sinners. Okay, like literally, you have to understand this truth. Okay, Jesus died so you don't have to kill each other. Okay. I know it sounds like aggressive, but I'm telling you, the problem in marriage, Okay, it's why the flirting becomes fighting, right? The problem in relationships, like maybe you're dating right now, and this is like, you're like, this was our life last night. We were together, we were out to dinner, and then bam, and now we're just at church, and we're in separate ends of the auditorium. Like, you know what I mean? Like how do you make up? Like, what? See, the problem and why this all happens is because we see our spouse's sin as worse than our sin. Right? It's the old log in the eye problem. Right? And so what you have to understand is that, look, no one's going to be perfect. Again, everyone's going to get annoying in marriage. Like, you just have to understand that. And in fact, what Paul says and what he teaches, that we need to serve each other in this idea that, look, we'll both be sinners and we're both going to hurt each other. Right? Watch this. 1 Corinthians 7, verse 8, he says this, "Now to the unmarried and the widows I say." So he's talking to those of you that are single. He says this, "It is good for them to stay unmarried as I do." So he's going, it's a better life to not get married. Why? "But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion." Okay, so what's he saying? If you're attracted to the opposite sex, you're going, man, I desire that. He's like, you're going to have to get married because there is no off valve for that. Okay, but don't miss this. Okay, because Paul then finishes in verse 34. He says this, "The unmarried woman and the virgin," remember he's talking about singles. He says, "is concerned about the Lord's affairs. Her aim is to be devoted to the Lord both in body and spirit." So when you're single, your goal is to be devoted to Jesus and Jesus alone. We're going to get more into this the last week of the series, okay? But watch this. A married woman is concerned about the affairs of this world. She's like, you can't be all into Jesus, right? Why? But your concerns about the world is how she can please her husband, or how a husband can please her wife, right? I'm saying this for your own good, not to restrict you, but that you may live in a right way in undivided devotion to the Lord. Translation, look, the harder life, even though it's a blessed life, the harder life is the married life. You just got to understand that what you signed up for when you said I do is, look, this is going to be tough. This is going to be harder because you're both sinners. Like understand, it's very simply this. Let me ask you it this way. Like, are people annoying? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah. Yes. Now don't miss this. Are you a person? Yes. Okay. So here's the reality. You just got to answer this for yourself. Okay? Is you have to determine, do I want to be annoyed or do I want to be single? Because those two worlds are just the worlds we live in. Right? And we have to understand that about each other. And then number two, if you want to resolve the conflict, number two, so you have to admit you have a problem instead of making them the problem. And this is huge, right? You have to admit you have a problem, right? And what's the problem? Okay, go back to the first point. We're people. We sin, right? And what happens when you get two sinners that move in together and share everything? What do you get? Well, you get a mess, right? Like the reality is we don't like to share. Like newsflash, Pastor P, look, I hate sharing. Honestly, buy me a candy bar and ask for a bite. I will tell you no. Seriously, I'd rather buy you 3 candy bars than give you a bite of the one I got, right? I don't like to share, right? But the reality is that's my problem, right? And when you get two selfish people sharing everything, look at it's problems. Right? The exotic becomes toxic. The opposites attract, but it becomes annoying. And that's why he's saying, look at. What you should be doing is go out, settle yourselves, date. And when you date, chase away the little foxes. Chase them away. Singles. Yes, infatuation. Your love's going to blossom, but chase away the little foxes while you date. Ask questions. Like, how many kids do you want to have? Right? What do you want our lives to look like when we're 50? Again, hello, where are you at with Jesus? Do you serve in the church? These are paramount life foundation questions, right? It's huge. We got to chase away the little foxes once you're married, right? And the conflict happens. What do? Well, I think a couple of slow down. Again, the biggest issue in marriage is that we get hurt and then pow, 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 pow. And we just mow the other person down. We're slow down. Slow down. It's a great place to be. Sometimes let time be the healer. And I know someone's like, well, the Lord says don't let the sun go down upon your wrath. You're right. But sometimes it's okay to say, hey, I love you and hold each other, but say, we can talk about this tomorrow because I am hot. It's okay, right? But the other thing you see, remember, is that this couple is building each other up. They're not critical of each other. They're talking, man, you are who I love. You're what it's all about. Like she brings them back, right? To say, hey, baby, I love you. I love you. Look, ensure each other that if you're going to let time go, it's not you, it's me. Right? I need some time, right? Do you see how that is? Right? Like these are great things, right? Because what's the biggest issue, right? Is that we've married exotic, right? Opposites attract, and exotic can become toxic, right? And I know you start to go hit the pause button and go, hold on, but I thought marriage was supposed to be awesome. It is. Because when exotic is done right, dude, it is phenomenal, right? Where again, lift the sermon to go, you know what I love about this couple is they become the couple of all couples. What I love about what my life, listen to me, both Tracy and I married exotic can be, right? In fact, we are so opposite. Let me listen to this. It was when we were going through my church planting residency. Okay, we got to graduation day where essentially they sit us down and they've gotten to know us, and you're with all these wise men and women, and they're telling you, are you healthy enough to start a church? Right? And then they start to tell you about your characters. And they looked at Tracy and I, and make this up, and they looked at me and they said, Chris, be like, cling to your wife because she is what completes you. And I was like, oh, the feels. And they're like, no, seriously, like you're an idiot without her. Like, seriously, and honestly, God, this is seriously. They're sitting us down and they're like, if we could give you an illustration, this is their illustration. They're like, Chris, you are like a wild stallion. And I'm like, yeah, wild stallion. They're like, you are just built to rip, right? Like give you a vision and you're going to mow down, you're going to run fast, you're going to go. The problem is, Chris, being a pastor means you have a church. Having a church means you have a congregation. Having a congregation means you have many lives you have to shepherd, and you will break them because you're going to run right past them. They were like, so, Tracy, and this was funny. They were like, this might offend you, but you're like a Clydesdale. To which they all kind of laughed because what woman wants to be like, you're a Clydesdale, the biggest horse. And Tracy, she's fit, she's beautiful, but their illustration was, Chris is going to be ripping so hard with vision and wanting to rip the church left, right, up, and down into new ideas. They said what he's going to need is someone so sturdy, stronger than the stallion, to keep him running at a pace that won't ruin the church. And listen to me, guys, with all my heart. Man, there are moments of frustration where I look at Tracy and I get this idea and I'm like, why can't you see it? And she'll look at me and go, I can, but we have to pace ourselves. I'm telling you, there's been moments where I've wanted to cut and run. Maybe my idea didn't work out and I'm embarrassed, right? I feel like I'm just running in la-la land, and what Tracy does is pulls me back and says, no, hold on. It's going to be okay. People will forgive you, right? There's moments where literally I feel like I'm making foundational choices for our church or our family, for our kids. And there's moments where I'm going, I don't know if this is right. But every time what's next to me, not in front of me, not behind me, is Tracy. The foundation that we can build together of speed and agility, sturdy and strong, and we can build a healthy life. And that's what leads to the last point is this, is it's not just admitting you're sinners, not just admitting that there's a problem, you're not the problem, but the third thing is you have to admit you love each other. Again, what does this couple do? Come back to Solomon and them, right? Where she grabs him, clings to him, and says, just come, and she brings him right into the moments where they began. She brings him to mama's bedroom. How awkward is that? But she was like, hey, remember, but I can imagine this is what she said. This is where I stood. I was so excited for the man that was coming over those hills. And see that lattice right there? See that where you were knocking and asking to take me out? See, that's where you stood in anticipation of what I would be. And yeah, we have this problem. Yeah, we have this moment. But you know what? Let's just, this is where we began. What's the learning? The learning is that if you're here and you're married, and one of the best ways to chase away the little foxes is go back to the beginning. Right? Like look at your wedding photos. Go visit and go date in the place you did your first date at. Go to the same restaurant. Put on your old clothes. That would be funny, right? Right? But go back to those whimsical times. Why? Because ultimately what you need to start to understand is that love trumps all. 1 Peter 4:8 puts it this way: love covers over a multitude of sins. Why does it cover a multitude of sins? Because here's what love is. Love is choosing to forgive each other. Love is deciding to walk with each other. And love is deciding that I'm going to make this exotic, opposite thing, not toxic, but a blessing to truly complete me. So back to the beginning, right? Like I said, this is about dating, okay? Why date? Why date? How to date? Well, here's what you do. Chase away the little foxes. Chase them away. Go out, talk about it, right? Like I think singles, like ask all those questions, get to know the person. If you're married, right, and you're having struggles in your marriage, man, go out on a date, talk about those things. Or maybe you're going, well, life's great, what about us? Well, again, date. Why? Because don't let the little foxes start gnawing before you begin to work on the problems. Be proactive, date, stay in love, and stay protecting the root, the foundation of what God gave us. And so with that, if you'll bow your head and you'll close your eyes. Here's how we're going to wrap up. Here's your homework. Okay, you guys ready? Here's your homework. Is if you're married, I want you to plan a date night. All right, and this is on the dudes. Okay, I'm just going to say this. Solomon went and planned his date night. All right, so I want you. That's your homework. All right, before next Sunday. Okay, don't give me that. Well, we're busy. We're this. We're that. Get creative. Get anticipation. You don't got to buy her a dress, but you know what? You could do flowers. You do a lot of different things, okay? You can be up late. You can go into work late. There's a lot of things that you can do, but here's the deal. So I want you guys to go, and I want you guys to actually talk. Hey, what are some little foxes that are going on in our marriage? And I'm telling you, just talk about them, right? Maybe it's intimacy. There's the lack of intimacy. There's the lack of discovery. Maybe it's the lack of having something on the calendar that's fun, you know? Like, I don't know what it is, but here's what I know. Here's what I know is that if we don't get you guys dating, then nothing will ever change. Singles. Here's what I ask. Here's what Paul would ask you, right? Is, are you ready for marriage? Because if you don't date with a purpose, ask these questions. You could marry exotic and it become toxic and you not even see it coming. Listen, I don't know where you're at, but here's what I know, okay? Is that God's given us this book, very practical, to lead us and to guide us into the very best life, the happy ending, right? Where you start in love is how he wants you to end, but we got to chase away the little foxes. Let's pray. Jesus, in these next few moments, God, I know that there's a lot racing through our minds. There's a lot that's been said, a lot of practical, a lot of different moving parts, God, that we probably look at our lives and there's some people listening that are going, you know what? I got lost in infatuation and the exotic and it's toxic right now. And maybe they're screaming to get out. God, I pray for that person. God, that they would see this as a tool, like that they'd settle down, that they'd realize they have a problem, not the other person, and realize that we're all sinners, and God, that they love each other, and that God, that they would come back to choosing to serve each other. God, I pray for that family. That they wouldn't cut and run, God, but they would lead, they would choose, God, and they would just maybe just go on a date this week, just to fall back in love. God, I pray for the couple that maybe the sizzle has gone and maybe, God, that flame needs to be reignited. God, I pray that they would be wise enough, clear up their calendar enough to just go on a date. And God, bring them back to the moments where it first began. God, the pictures, the memories, the old clothes, God, the old house, God, where it all started. And Jesus, I pray for the singles. God, my heart goes out to them. God, it is hard to date right now, but God, I pray that they would date with a purpose. So that, yes, opposites will always attract. But Lord, I pray that they would safeguard their future marriage with how they date and how they talk about life and how they plan together now. God, I pray that we would chase away the little foxes so that when the pressures of life comes, our marriages will stand, you'll get the glory, and that our joy would be because you've taught us how to serve each other like you served us. We ask this in your name, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Hey, if you're watching online and you're going, man, I'd love to learn more about this, connect into our community, man, just email me at info@unitecommunitychurch.com or download our app anywhere that you download apps. Just search Unite Community Church, and me, another pastor, will connect with you as long as you hit the Get Connected button. Listen, I love you guys. I love you guys. Next week, we're going to get into this a lot more as we continue their story. But until then, go on a date, love each other, enjoy life. See you next week.